Hello everyone and welcome back yet again to another daily update video. My name is CryptoStash and I hope you're having an amazing new week. Currently it is Monday and Bitcoin is right now trading back above the 106k level, which is basically very key. So the 106k basically correlates with our value area high right here, as you can see, and then once we get above that value area high, then it is very possible that we flip it as support once again, and then potentially we can test these new all-time highs and possibly create a newer ones. Also, if you look at the stock market right now, the S&P 500 is perfectly pushing to the upside, as you can see. Since the CME future markets opened tonight, since then we've been getting a move up also for the stock markets, and for Bitcoin it has been getting that push up since the CME future markets opened. As you can see, we are currently 2.5% to the upside, basically right now reclaiming and breaking through that very key level that we lost last week. So if we get above, as you can see right now we are above that weekly pivot, and then maybe we test that first weekly pivot resistance, and then we can test that weekly pivot, retest it as support, then I'm potentially expecting that push up that will take us back to the all-time highs and potentially, as I said, create new ones maybe this week, since this week we do have some very important news, the rate cuts, and even if a rate cut is not expected, this will bring volatility in the markets anyways, and in my opinion it is going to be positive for Bitcoin and for the stock markets, and it will take us to that all-time high. Now if you look at the open interest for Bitcoin, as you can see, this move to the upside has actually been a real move with actual buying pressure, since we do have open interest going up and our CVD going up, while also our price is going up at the same time. So basically this means we did get a new longs entering the market, and this is what pushed the price up, as you can see. So very bullish still for Bitcoin and for the altcoins. Now if we look at Ethereum, for example, Ethereum currently trying to break out of this weekly pivot, which is a very strong resistance right now, and if we manage to flip it as support, for example, if Ethereum tests this value area high and then retraces back to that weekly pivot, then I can see Ethereum once again try to push back to that $2,800 region, and then basically if we manage to continue to the upside in the next coming days, and if the Bitcoin price continues to move up, then I'm expecting finally that we get that test of the $3,000 region for it, since the RSI is looking very nice right here, as you can see, and also we have been raging right now for a very long time, guys. So I'm expecting finally that we get in this week that push up and break out of this range finally, since once again we tested the POC and the value area low, and right now the indicators still have a lot of potential upside, as you can see, until we get overbought right here, excuse me. We do have some more time in the RSI basically, so this is why I'm expecting a potential continuation, and as I mentioned in the previous videos, it is very unlikely, guys, that this range gets broken to the downside. I don't believe that will happen. The most possible outcome for this range breakout for it will be to the upside. So we will see what happens in the next coming days and weeks, but in my opinion, as I mentioned, I know how these markets work, so basically I'm expecting that push up to the upside. Also for Solana, if we look at Solana on the daily time frame, after creating this bullish divergence right here, as you can see, the price just pumped massively. So Solana currently got that push to the upside from that POC, basically 10% right now, got back above that weekly pivot, as you can see right here, And right now the next target for Solana will be 164, 266 basically, our weekly pivot resistance one, as you can see. So maybe I'm expecting the price to come to up here, maybe struggle a bit and then go back and test that weekly pivot, and then potentially test this value area high of the range, which also sits right here where our second weekly pivot resistance sits at around $180 for Solana. So I'm very bullish on Solana since it has been performing very bad for a couple of days, and right now it has finally reached this POC level and getting that perfect bounce from here. Also Sui has also been performing quite badly in the last weeks or so, and basically the indicators right now also looking pretty nice. Sui also the same as Solana create that bullish divergence right here, as you can see, and our RSI momentum still currently sitting at 46 has a lot free way to the upside basically until we get to that 80 line where we can possibly find some resistance. But on the daily, until we get there, we will probably have pumped already like 24 or possibly to that $4 range once again, basically our last pivot resistance, and this will be around 32% of a pump for Sui. Now if we look at one coin that I said in my previous videos that is very strong and still has more potential to the upside since the momentum is very strong, is Hype. You can see basically Hype broke its all-time high once again, and currently it is in price discovery. So maybe, as I mentioned, we can reach that $50 target for Hype. Basically the last pivot resistance is sitting at $55, and basically this will be like another 22% pump to the upside. But it is also possible that we smash right past this target, since, as you know, once a coin is in price discovery, we can't actually call for a top right here. So basically it is possible that Hype pushes all the way up to maybe even $100. Nobody can tell you that, since, as I mentioned, we are in price discovery. So very important to look out for Hype, guys, as I was mentioning in my previous videos. So now if we look at the Bitcoin dominance, as you can see, perfectly rejecting actually from that weekly pivot resistance and is dropping right now. So maybe it finds some kind of support from that weekly pivot, but I hope it just smashes right through it and then potentially tests the other weekly pivot supports. And then you can see in this coming week, if it starts dropping, the altcoins will actually rip very hard to the upside, and Ethereum can potentially reach that target I was saying of around $3,000, and Solana can reach that target of around $180 once the Bitcoin dominance starts pushing down very aggressively. So this is what we need to see. We need to break that weekly pivot, flip it as resistance, and then get that massive dump to the downside for the Bitcoin dominance in order for us to see continuation for the altcoins. Now, if we look once again at the liquidation heat map, Bitcoin took out all of this liquidity sitting to the upside, and basically we do have a liquidity all the way up to the 110k region, basically the all-time highs. But as you can see here at 108k we have almost no liquidity sitting. So if it's possible, if we go back to 107k 0.9 and we take out this, it's possible that we just smash right through it and then we take all of this liquidity sitting to the upside. Also, why I'm expecting a move to happen very soon is because we are sitting since yesterday and since last week, as you can see, still in that neutral zone in the Fear and Greed index for Bitcoin. And basically we tend to not stay long in that neutral zone. And as how things are looking right now, that next week we do have a federal funds rate meeting. Basically a rate cut is not expected in June to happen, basically this early in the year, but anything can happen, and in my opinion, even if we don't get a rate cut, this will bring a massive volatility in the markets, and as I mentioned, it is very possible, since we are still in that 50 neutral zone, then we will get that very big move happening finally in the markets that everybody has been waiting for. And also, if you look at the exchange trade long versus shorts ratio, you can basically see we have more buyers, so basically more longs in the markets right now than shorts, so this is also very bullish. And also the crypto funding rates, they are still high, as you can see, and positive, so this still potentially gives us more room for upside for Bitcoin and for the altcoins, as I mentioned. And as long as we break this zone right here, then I'm expecting that move to the upside to happen, and finally we can take out the all-time highs and create potentially newer ones, guys. So this is my outlook for the Bitcoin price and the altcoins. I hope you liked the video, subscribe for the channel, and I'll see you again in the next one. Bye.